thought I left this here.
Fear is something that has always existed in humans, ever since we appeared around 300,000 years ago. In contrast, humans have only been venturing into space since the 1960s. And somehow nobody thought to put these two ideas together until 2008. 2008! 50 years after the first video game and 16 years after the first horror game. Maybe we just need the right technology to pull this off convincingly. Not that it fucking matters anyway when the controls have a delay so long I can go make myself a cup of tea before Isaac turns to the right to get bitch slapped by your mum. Oh, for fuck's sake. I mentioned in my review of RE4 that a lot of games copied its camera and controls. The game we're reviewing today is one such game that did this, titled Dead Space, and it stars bland no-talking protagonist number 14. I mean, his name is actually Isaac Clarke, but who honestly gives a shit? As he explores a spooky space station that's sent out a distress call. Dead Space received a ton of praise upon its release, from critics and users alike. It's certainly one of the spookiest games I've played in a while, apart from Containment Breach multiplayer, but that scares me in a different way. For one, try tell me that isn't fucking terrifying, but Containment Breach scares me because of the monsters and their abilities. This creepy bastard sending you to his pocket dimension, this rake-looking motherfucker running towards you to rip your face off, and a peanut coming to snap your neck faster than you can literally fucking blink. Dead Space scares me by making me wonder where the enemies are coming from. I remember on the way to the morgue I saw this hole and thought, I bet something's going to jump out of there. And I had to pass it on the way back to the tram. Obviously being a fan of Resident Evil, I was expecting them to jump out on my way back when I couldn't see them coming. But did they? Did they? Fuck. But that just proves my point, that the game psyched me out to the point where I was suspicious of a hole bigger than my arse after a gay Tuesday.
I hate Wednesday mornings.
The opening to this game is kind of shit in my opinion. We know that this is a horror game, so when we see this crew standing in front of us acting like we're supposed to care about them, the only thing I can think is, you're gonna die, you're definitely fucked. Then the ship crashes and we put on our helmet and head out into the big, bad, scary spaceship. I don't have a lot of experience with games set in space. Mainly because the last time I tried one I was put on a pike and burned to a crisp by people who have nothing better to do than spending thousands of hours living a fake life in a fucking spaceship. It's like playing The Sims but somehow even more pathetic. Seriously, some of the people in that community take the game so seriously, I can't help they're a type of people who don't shower and moderate Discord servers like they're part of the fucking Third Reich. I like that in the game your health and status meter is shown on your back, completely immersing you into the atmosphere of the game, because there's no HUD to remind you that this is a game. But don't worry, the controls will remind you the second that you can move. There's a delay to movement controls that I absolutely hate. It only seems to affect the moving and the camera, but nothing else. I can shoot, pick things up, activate doors when I press the button to do so, but apparently turning 90 degrees is too much and takes a second to register. I did slowly get used to this over time, but there was another camera-related issue that I couldn't get used to. Does Isaac's head really need to take up the entire left side of my fucking screen? With all the cramped corridors you travel down in this game, you would have thought someone would point out that the camera spends most of its time trying to smash into the back of my fucking head. The other problem with the camera is that the game has tons of moments where enemies spawn behind you, which is also bullshit by the way in a game where health is given to you about as often as a bus arriving on time. The problem arises when you try to turn to face this creature about to have a good nibble, but it takes a second to register and Isaac takes up half of the screen where the monster's coming from, so you end up getting hit anyway. I was playing the PC version from Steam to this review and I'm unsure if other versions of the game include this camera delay that I was experiencing. I don't have any other copies to compare to, so I'll let someone tell me in the comments if this happens on console. This isn't a massive point, but something that I felt was worth mentioning. I later found out this camera lag was caused by me turning on VSync before I started playing the game. What? This just cements that EA are the biggest bastards in all of gaming. Why wasn't this patched in the 13 years that this game has existed? Another thing I liked in this game was the evolution of the control style from earlier games with this perspective. I hate to bring it up again, but in Resident Evil 4, Leon was controlled in the control style known as tank controls, which I've explained in previous videos. Here, Isaac is half controlled like that. You still go forward when you hit 4, but now Isaac moves to the left or right instead of turning in that direction when you push the joystick. This is genius, as it makes grabbing collectibles from lockers way easier, because you could just strafe past them instead of having to turn, run, turn, collect, repeat ad nauseum. It also makes adjusting your aim a lot easier, as you can also move while aiming, meaning if I'm lined up on the vertical plane but not on the horizontal, I could just take a step to the left instead of waving my gun around like a madman. This is something that Resident Evil would fail to catch up on for another 4 years. Okay, I promise I'll stop talking about Resident Evil now. The game seems to want me to care about this character called Nicole for some reason. Maybe a girlfriend or something of Isaac's, but that's never communicated clearly. All I know is that Isaac wants to find her, but the thing is, I couldn't give a single toss. I have no idea who she is. Plus, this seems to be a secondary goal of the game, first being to just survive aboard this ship and do some sort of repairs that I can't remember, because I'm too busy shitting myself every time I hear a clang in the vents. The closest game I can think to compare this to, apart from the obvious, is Alien Isolation, but the alien decided to fuck like a rabbit and send its little alien shits all over the place to jump out at people like a haunted house. The game is genuinely terrifying despite the fact that you're pretty well armed. I was always jumping whenever an alien would dart across a doorway, and there's so many varieties as well. Apart from the basic enemies, I can also remember the infuriating little bastard that sprouts extra appendages and jumps on walls, which definitely wasn't frustrating as fuck when trying to aim. The enemies also can't be taken down just by shooting them anywhere. The enemies have to have limbs shot off to deal the most damage, or else you're left pissing plasma energy and wasting all your ammo just to kill one of the millions of motherfuckers who come to give you a big hug. Another thing I'd like to bring up is the map. It's a fucking mess. Shows you all available floors on one 3D projection with a blue line leading you to your objective. The issue with this is that you can't see where the fuck you're meant to go, because if you try and see the hallway you need to walk down, it's blocked by the one directly above it. Also, why is this ship that presumably has a massive crew that people would need to navigate quickly designed like a fucking escape room? I know it would be boring just to walk through identical long hallways, but at least the design would make more sense than going up, down, left, right, and upside down just to go for a shit. People giving God of War a perfect score makes more sense than this shit design. It wasn't fucking perfect. Why does it have perfect scores? This video is gonna piss off so many people. And that's all I really have to say about Dead Space. Pretty good game, all things considered. The VSync issue was kinda shit, and part of the story fell flat for me, but I will definitely at some point return to the USG Ishimura for another round of limb-hacking horror. I'd like to thank all of you for watching this video. If you did, remember to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Follow me on Twitch, Instagram and TikTok. Consider subscribing to my Patreon. And I'll see you lads, ladies and in-betweeners next time. Goodbye.